acutely aware that God is principally and primarily responsible for my presence. And I'm cognizant that He is responsible for your presence as well. We are indebted to Him. I offer deference to Derek Jackson, who is doing an outstanding job. And we celebrate him and the work that he and his staff, they are doing an outstanding job. And likewise to Dr. C. Dennis Edwards, along with the members of the corporate board. We thank you for your work and for your labor of love. I am so delighted to have here men who served with me in our convention. These men who are vice presidents of our convention, and members of part of the executive committee. Would you all just stand and let them see it so that they won't say anything about me, at least around you. Thank you all so much. Thank you all for being here, always glad to here. And I'm certainly indebted to Calvin McKinney for having presented me here. Calvin is not just General Secretary, he is my personal reminder. He reminds me of what it was I was supposed to be doing that I had forgotten. But what a brother and friend he is, always in awe and how I thank God for him. And obviously I'm delighted C.L. Backus is a unique personality, and I thank God for him and for his friendship, and Dr. Lee, I appreciate you so much. Let me say lastly, Dr. Blackburn, I'm getting accustomed to the fact that they tell me when I come to these meetings that I have to have security. Now, I've never really understood why I needed security, but I guess since Trump is in office, it could be necessary. Let me appreciate the members of the New Hope Baptist Church, where I'm privileged to pastor. We have several members here, and I know Sister Jackie and the rest of you are someplace. Members of New Hope Church, I thank you all so very much for being here. They're some of the best members of any church, anywhere on the planet. And I'm so delighted and thankful for them. And then all of our friends who are from the great state of Mississippi. Now, I'm not going to ask Mississippi to stand because all of the folk who claim to be from California would have to stand. Folk from Texas and places. But I'm so delighted and so privileged to have you here. I thank all of you. And now I say a word about Manuel Scott Jr. Manuel Scott, I keep telling Manuel this. Manuel used to be a personal friend. And Emmanuel comes to our church. He's been coming there now for the past 15 years, I guess. And I was sitting there today thinking that I probably need to cancel that. There, he calls that lecture. Who ever seen anybody lecture like that? But what a friend and what a beloved brother he is, and how I thank God for him and for his late father, who without a doubt, all of Christendom is better because Emmanuel Sr. came through here. We ought not forget that. Now, I am not going to ask you to indulge me long. There has been some great preaching here. Marcus Cosby, John Adolph, and Timothy Glenn. And I heard the young preacher from Nashville, young Mr. Mitchell, and he had several years. And I want y'all to know that I am aware that those men are brought here annually because of their gifts to preach. And they have preaching powers, and it's powers that really brings them here. They have preaching powers, no doubt about it. Now, I'm the only fellow here whose preaching didn't bring him here. I got here by way of having been induced by the position that I now serve in, and it's a presidential privilege, and out of deference to the president, Derek has had the president of the convention to preach here for so many years, and Julius Scruggs is such a tremendous preacher. And Derek really didn't want me to feel bad. And so he kept it going, but I want y'all to know I do understand why I'm here. I have 5 grandchildren, and 2 of my granddaughters now live with me. And the older of the 2 developed the habit of coming into the room and making a request. Papa, I need some money. And I asked, how much do you need? And she was not a teenager at the time, and she said, Papa, I think 20 will do. And on that occasion, I gave her a $20 bill. And her sister, who is much younger than she is, followed her into the room and said, Papa, me too. I want some money. And in my attempt not to discriminate between my granddaughter, I gave her a 20. And she frowned at me. And the older granddaughter said, Papa, she doesn't like 20s. And she said, she liked ones. And I said, she doesn't like 20s, but she liked ones. I took back the 20 and gave her 3 $1 bills, and she got happy. And I concluded, after evaluating that experience, that the younger granddaughter gave up a 20 for $3 primarily because she couldn't count. And if you can't count, you don't know how to assess value. And I promise you I'm not going to be long, but since I'm up here, I'm understanding how I got here, but nonetheless, since I am here, I think perhaps I ought to at least say something. And the Apostle Paul said that I've taken out my trial balance sheet and I have drawn a line in the middle. And on my balance sheet, I have my assets in one column and my liabilities in the other. And in the asset column, I was circumcised on the 8th day. I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. Brother Mitchell preached the other night that Rachel gave a son who his daddy named Benjamin. Paul says, I'm from the tribe of Benjamin. And I want you to know that I'm from the stock of Israel. And I need you to know that when it comes to the law, I'm blameless. And he says, all of that stuff is in my asset column. But he said, then one day I'll learn how to count it. And when I got to the place where I could count, he said I had a new valuing system. And so I moved all of my assets to my liability column and moved one name in my asset column. I'm almost finished. I'm almost finished now. But I want to tell you, here's what he said. He said, I count everything that I've gained. And now this is for Claiborne Lee and Mark, these young fellows who are Greek scholars. You have to be careful when you preach around them. These guys are New Testament scholars, while this is just for them, because I want to be sure that when I looked at it, I discovered afresh that Paul says that all my gains, and he had an S on the word. It was plural. He said, so whatever I've gained, and whatever it is, he said, all my gains, he said, now I count them loss. And what amazed me, Mercer, is that he says gain is in the plural, but loss is singular. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Paul. You say all these gains, plural, but loss is singular, and then Paul helped me. He said, I don't care what it was, it ain't worth the flip since I've come to know Jesus. I put all my gains in one category. It means nothing because I've come to know Jesus. Now, most preachers promise to quit 5 times before they quit. I've made one promise already. This is my second promise. But I'm going to be leaving. But hear me today. The Apostle Paul said, I've given all this love that I may know him. You know, I wonder all the time. You have seminars, and you have teaching at the church, and you have all kinds of conferences at the church, and you're trying to teach and train, and the very people who need to come stay at home. You train deacons, and the very deacons who need